What is up everyone, Hero276 here, and welcome to today's video and welcome back to my channel. Today, we'll be featuring BRELOOM in the Great League Remix Cup. BRELOOM is a fighting and grass type Pokemon with the moveset of Counter, Seed Bomb, and Dynamic Punch. Its unique typing makes it double weak to flying, but it's able to counter a lot of the ice types that we've seen, as well as some normal type save switches. It's able to core break a lot of teams and even do well up against Carbink. BRELOOM will be paired alongside Alolan Marowak and Dewgong to form a team that I had some decent success with. And before we dive into today's video, I just want to give a special shout out to my Spotify page. If you're liking the music used in this video and other videos, be sure to check out my Spotify page where you have access to all of my releases. You can buy my albums for just $4.99, or if you don't want to spend the money, which is completely understandable, you can follow me on the platform and still listen to my music for free. That being said, let's dive right into today's video. Alright, now in this video you're going to be seeing one set consisting of 5 battles as well as 2 bonus battles. Hopping into the first battle, leading Dewgong into Nidoqueen, and even better, the Nidoqueen is staying in this matchup, which leads me to believe they're weak to Dewgong somewhere else in the back. Opponent will be going straight Poison Fang here. They did not build up to the Earth Power. They send in a Waterfall Shadow Gyarados, gonna debuff it here with the Icy Wind. And I can't really come in with anything right away, as BRELOOM is very frail despite resisting the waterfalls, so I wait for Gyarados to get low, and then send in the BRELOOM. I'm going to absorb 1 charge move. Crunch is resisted. It still does like half our health, which is insane. BRELOOM is very glassy. Opponent comes back in with the Nidoqueen, but this Seed Bomb here will just about KO. Seed Bomb puts it into a range where we simultaneously KO with 1 more fast move. In the back, they have Shadow Victreebel, and this game is over. We send in Alolan Marowak. Alolan Marowak is just going to commit to the full farm down. I'm even going to no-shield this move because I want a 2-shield flex. It's only the Acid Spray. We farm down, and we take the win. Hopping into game number 2, picking up a lead up against Toxapex. Now this matchup is made better by the fact that we now have access to Drill Run on our Dewgong, but even so, Toxapex is so bulky, and these Drill Runs are non-stab, and Dewgong is very defense-weighted, that these Drill Runs will not do a lot of damage. Even so, Dewgong decides to shield up. At this point, they send in a Vigoroth, and I come in with BRELOOM. Vigoroth is going to go for the Body Slam. That's going to really hurt. I'm only able to make it to 1 Seed Bomb, but my hope is that they no-shield here. Opponent does no-shield, and we regain alignment. Now, we're up a shield, we have alignment, but still that Toxapex is very dangerous because they have so much energy, and we just wasted a Drill Run, so they're going to go for a move here. I will shield it up. It is the Sludge Wave, so that's a good shield on my part. Now I'm going to overfarm before going for the Drill Run. This will chip at the Toxapex, but as you're going to see, this Drill Run is not going to do a lot of damage, even though it's super effective. Opponent is going to switch out into a Scrafty, and I simultaneously switch into a Alolan Marowak. Despite them being a Dark type and me being a Ghost type, this actually isn't terrible for us. Foul Play is not going to be enough to KO, and now we could just go for Bone Club here to hopefully bait the shield. Opponent unfortunately does let the move go through. Should have gone for the Shadow Ball, as now I kind of have to shield up this move, as Foul Play would take me out from this range, but they're not going to be able to farm down. So I'm going to go for the full Shadow Ball here. The question is it going to be enough resisted damage to KO? Unfortunately, it is not. They do survive, but this should only be a power-up punch. We're going to be able to tank this just fine. It's double resisted. Opponent comes back in with Toxapex. We make it to the Shadow Ball. This will threaten their shield. And that looked like a CMP tie as well, so this is a win condition for me. They could have gone for the farm down if they wanted to after me throwing that Shadow Ball. And now the question remains whether or not this Drill Run is enough to KO. Dewgong fires off the Drill Run. It's not enough to KO. Can we farm down in time? We cannot. And unfortunately, this Sludge Wave will take us out, and we will lose a very close game. Hopping into game number 3, picking up a lead up against Steelix. Steelix is not a bad lead by any means because we have access to the super effective Drill Runs, and their moves will not do too much damage, though their Dragon Tails will add up over time. Unfortunately, I lose the CMP tie on the Drill Run. Opponent goes for the Crunch. That's going to do more damage, but it does not grab a defense fall. So Dewgong still looking in a decent spot. They let the Drill Run go through, and that does a lot of damage. Now what I'm going to look to do is overfarm here, not play into the CMP tie. I'm going to let the Psychic Fangs go through and then send in BRELOOM for a counter down. BRELOOM gets the farm down and only takes a couple Dragon Tails worth of energy in the process. They send in Drift Blim, and we're fully walled here in this matchup no matter what we're running, but as you can see, Seed Bomb still does a lot of damage even when resisted. Opponent lets me get to another move as well. The Seed Bomb is resisted, but it still will chip, and my opponent knows that, so they commit a shield. At this point, they're throwing their energy. They cannot hex down without me making another charge move, so they go for the Mystical Fire to take me out. From here, I'm going to send in Alolan Marowak to get ahead on energy. Alolan Marowak is going to shield up the move just in case it's the Shadow Ball. Unfortunately, this is an Icy Wind, but this is very revealing information. I can just save my shield because they don't have Shadow Ball, which means Mystical Fire and Icy Wind are both resisted and will not KO. I'm able to get the catch onto Dewgong here. Dewgong will take neutral damage from the Mystical Fire, and it does get them low, but we're able to simultaneously farm down. Alolan Marowak comes back into a Grottle in the back. These Razor Leafs are resisted, and all of their charge moves here are actually resisted because their bait move is Body Slam. I get a shield with the Bone Club, I full send the Shadow Ball, that's able to land, opponent gets farmed down, and we take the win. Hopping into game number 4, picking up a lead up against Vigoroth. This is not very good. What I'm going to look to do is stay in, let them build up to a Body Slam, and then catch it where it will be double resisted onto Alolan Marowak. Body Slam not going to be doing too much damage here at all. That barely tickles. Opponent sends in a Carbink, and this is good to lure out. This means we can bring in our BRELOOM to it, and BRELOOM will be able to get a nice counter down once we get this thing nice and low. These Rock Throws are adding up, but so did that Shadow Ball, and even though Carbink is insanely tanky, we're able to make it to multiple moves, and this second Shadow Ball will get this Carbink quite low. Between the Fire Spins and the Shadow Balls, we put the Carbink at a red health, and this means we could send in the BRELOOM, shield once, and counter down. BRELOOM will have to respect the Moonblast, but we should be able to shield here and counter down. Opponent full sends the Moonblast, they come in with a Gliscor, we take a couple of wing attacks and damage, which is not so good, but eventually we do send in the Dewgong before we get too low. Opponent is going to go straight Night Slash here. We could tank a second one as well, so I'm going to let this go through as well, and then just commit to the full farm down. Opponent not able to get the farm down. We get the farm down first, and we leave with so much energy. Back in comes Vigoroth, but I'm just going to go straight Icy Wind here. Icy Wind gets the shield, going for the second Icy Wind. This will do some solid chip damage. Opponent commits the second shield, and now they counter down. But BRELOOM is in a health range where we can survive, albeit not that well, a double debuffed Body Slam. Body Slam gets us into the red. Opponent sends in Carbink. We get the counter farm down and leave with the Dynamic Punch for the Vigoroth. This will be overkill. Get that Vigoroth out of here, and we take the win. Hopping into the final game of this set, picking up a rough lead into Ampharos. We're going to immediately save switch into Alolan Marowak, which can threaten for super effective damage with the Bone Clubs. Albeit, it doesn't do a lot of damage, so I don't go for it straight away, especially due to that one-turn bring-in. I let the Brutal Swing land, opponent sends in the Toxapex. I'm just going to go for the Shadow Ball here. Even though Bone Club is super effective damage, Shadow Ball does more raw damage thanks to Stab. And now, opponent throws their energy, denying me the ability to get to another move, but I'm honestly okay with this. They're now dry, and that means I can send in Dewgong, and with a health advantage, Dewgong should actually do okay here. Dewgong comes into the fight. My hope here is that I can outpace them to a Drill Run. I overfarm by 1, but I'm still able to get to the Drill Run. This will take out the Toxapex if they decide to let it go through, which they do, and at this point, I pretty much know that the Ampharos is going to come back in, so I send in BRELOOM, and in the back, they have Shadow Victreebel. This is not good. The Razor Leafs are resisted, but they definitely don't look resisted. Opponent shields up my Dynamic Punch, and it feels like all hope here is lost. I bring in Dewgong, but wait. They throw their energy on Alignment, giving me an Ice Shard for free. They're going to miss out on 2 Razor Leafs because of this. Dewgong actually gets a comfortable farm down and doesn't leave with a whole lot of HP, but enough that it's actually somewhat workable. Gonna go for the Icy Wind here. This needs to grab the shield. Icy Wind grabs the shield. The bait kind of unnecessary there, but I just wanted to lower the amount of Volt Switch pressure in case the Volt Switches took me out, but it didn't look like they were going to. Nonetheless, we make it to the Drill Run. That takes out the Ampharos, and we take the win. So we were able to go 4-1 in this set. Now to claim our rewards. Reward encounter is a Wobbuffet. I'm just going to quick catch real quick, and we're able to get up to about the 2100s worth of elo. But don't go anywhere because we have 2 bonus battles for you today, picking up a lead Dugong into Quagsire. This is a bit tricky as they do have the super effective Stone Edge to hit us, but that's the beautiful thing about BRELOOM's typing. We wait the turn and we're able to go ahead and catch the Stone Edge onto BRELOOM. And mind you that is a non-stab and single resisted Stone Edge that BRELOOM just took, and it's very glassy to the point where it brought it down to half health. And now I actually needed to shield the Mud Bomb right there. Otherwise, they could have just shielded and farmed me down. So I'm going to go for the Seed Bomb here on the CMP tie. It takes them out. Opponent sends in Scrafty. I'm able to make it to a last second dynamic punch. I need this to go through because Scrafty would beat my backline, but unfortunately they shielded up. And now I'm forced to bring in a Alolan Marowak because we do double resist the counters. Opponent goes for the foul play straight away. I no shield it, which is quite nice. And in the back they have a Sand Slash. I go for the catch of the Ice Punch onto Dugong and I'm able to get it. That also leaves me with stored energy on the Alolan Marowak, so this is probably the play I had to make. I overfarm till just before they make it to their next move, going for the Drill Run here. Drill Run takes them out. Opponent sends back in the Scrafty, but now I could just lower their attack here with Icy Wind. Icy Wind is going to get them quite low as well, and from here I could just let Dugong get the farm down and we take the win. Hopping into the final battle for you today, picking up a lead Dugong into Haxorus. Now Haxorus does take super effective from Ice Shard, but we take super effective from counter. In this matchup, Dugong is outpaced to the charge move, so I'm going to shield it up. Opponent will likely be going for the Breaking Swipe to get the attack debuff, and then they send in a Ferrothorn. Ferrothorn here will be debuffed with the Icy Wind first, and then I'm going to send in BRELOOM. BRELOOM here is hitting for super effective damage with these counters, and if they're running Thunder, which they're not, they're actually running Acid Spray, it would have been resisted, which is why I sent in BRELOOM and not Alolan Marowak, but BRELOOM here should still be able to get the counter down. Acid Spray, not going to do a ton of damage, and we're able to counter down. Back in comes the Haxorus, we're able to make it to the Dynamic Punch. This will one-shot if they decide to let it go through, but they shield it up. At this point, counters have done enough damage where I should be able to come in with Dugong, absorb the Breaking Swipe here, and I will be able to Ice Shard down. Haxorus gets farmed down. What's in the back? It's a Party Hat Blastoise, and I really regret letting the Breaking Swipe go through on my Dugong. Gonna go for the Icy Wind here. I need to lower their attack, and my thought process is to limit the damage when Alolan Marowak eventually comes in the fight. Opponent goes for the Hydro Cannon. I shield it up. Now I'm going to go for the Drill Run. I absolutely need this damage to land. Opponent lets it go through, and that's really good for me. With the Fire Spin damage, all I really need to do is make it to 2 Bone Clubs, because that will be enough damage. I have no Protect Shields left, but Hydro Cannon is not enough to KO. I make it to the back-to-back Bone Clubs. In comes the first. This should be getting the final shield, and I have the second one ready. This will take out the Blastoise, and it will give us the win. Overall, I had a lot of fun using BRELOOM in this format. BRELOOM's typing here is walled up against Medicham and Deoxys defense typically, but because both of those Pokemon are banned from this cup, BRELOOM had a lot more room to shine. It's still not a Pokemon that I would recommend for any competitive play, especially after the Seed Bomb nerf, but it was still plenty fun to use. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.